All right, thanks everyone. I know it's been a long evening, but I want to really congratulate Martha for her tireless work. I mean, she has done something, as we've all commented now, truly special in this world. She's built a community and a movement. And I really want to also thank Alan Balutis for my nomination, and thank my wife, Heidi, who is with me tonight and is as dedicated of a public servant as you'll ever meet, helping struggling readers in elementary schools, even over the summer, improve their reading. This community's provided so much, yes. This community's provided me so much inspiration over the years. It's really wonderful to share the evening together. I feel like I was a bit of a latecomer to the customer service and experience movement, but I have seen it become one of the stickiest initiatives that we have. Both leaders and frontline employees gravitate to it. And in reflecting how we can continue this momentum, I've been reading this book by Yuval Noah Harari, and in his latest book, Nexus, where he talks about how humans have gotten to where we are today. And it's largely through the ability to do two things. The first is tell stories, and the second is to make lists. So I know we're all passionate about a good list. My guess is people out here even write things on lists they've already done, just to be able to cross it out. Anybody here guilty of that? I want to focus here on the stories that we tell. Both are individual stories, and we've heard some amazing ones, especially from Laura just now, but also the collective story that really brings this community together. Harari writes in his book, "A human tribe with a good story is the most powerful thing in the world." All of the big achievements of humankind, such as flying to the moon, were the result of cooperation between hundreds of thousands of people based on a story. I know we have our own stories that motivate each of us, and every day to do our best at our jobs. One of the ones I come back to a lot was when I was hiking with my family in Mesa Verde National Park, and we started walking with one of the year-round park rangers. Of course, unable to resist my inner OMB, I started quizzing him on his staffing levels and his reporting structure and his org charts. And he stopped me mid-sentence and says, "Look, man, I don't really care about any of that. The only two things I care about are protecting Mother Nature and serving you as my customer." What a refreshing perspective. When's the last time we've been in this city and somebody interrupted us when talking about the FAR, A123, or yes, even GIPRA, to say, look, I don't care about any of that. I want to focus on the customer. I want to focus on the outcome. Decades of work by people like Martha, Dan Chennert, Robert Shea, Barbara Morton, Mark Busso, who deserves a tremendous amount of credit for building the OMB team at OMB, the CX team at OMB, and my own teacher for this work, Amira Boland, who stood up the CX team at OMB, now ably led by Lauren Stocker and Mo Early. For the first time ever, we've seen 3 straight years of increases on Forrester's Customer Service Index, going from 63 up to almost 70. We do have a powerful story to tell. I also remember traveling with Amira to Social Security headquarters, and of course, us 2 OMBers show up, and we had 20 SSA executives in the room. Amira proceeded to put herself in the shoes of somebody who was traveling across the country to a new job in West Virginia and navigated the SSA website, trying to figure out where to get that replacement card. It was a bit awkward and uncomfortable, but very effective, putting your shoes in the customer right in front of executives from the agency. Today, due to SSA's hard work, we only have 1 more state to go for online SSA card replacement. We know that when government shows up for those moments that are key in people's lives, it matters. For example, we learned through one of our life experience pilots that OMB ran that the simple act of HHS, who most mothers in our pilot had never even heard of, providing them a $30 newborn supply kit in the hospital after their birth, increased their trust in government 30%. We all need to know these stories. We need to have the courage to tell these stories, especially in this city. The amazing Service Index team with Michelle Liu, Eric Powers, Paul Funk at SSA identified 29 events in somebody's life that cause you to come into an SSA office. We know that that requires us to take 160 different types of actions, and we know we need to meet people where they are. And yes, increasingly, that is on their phone. We're proud that once you talk to somebody in a call center or sit down across from somebody as a customer service representative, as Laura described, you're satisfied with that visit a majority of the time. Not just a majority, 92% of the time, people are satisfied. These are the stories we must keep telling if we're going to change the culture of our nation's capital, which has gotten a lot of things right over the years, but consistently, I think, falls short in one area: understanding the difference between the means of government and the ends, or the outcomes of government. We in this room represent the people that depend on government services, and we should own that. There's not another group out there that does this. We're it. What if we had a policy in the federal government that said government's performance must be measured empirically by on-the-ground results for the people of the United States, especially for those experiences with services delivered? The means of government, budget, policy, financial management, HR, must work to achieve those ends. Well, as many of you know, that is actually the U.S. government's policy since 2021, and it continues to be so today. We also know policy is not enough. We need the stories and the perspectives and insights from people like our colleagues from Prescott, Arizona, Michelle and Laura, who are bringing that frontline perspective to leadership and their colleagues. Yes, I worked for 5 SSA commissioners in 6 months, and while it is fair to say they had some pretty notable differences, they all had one thing in common: a commitment to putting the customer first. The most impactful work I've done since joining SSA almost 2 years ago came from listening and acting on ideas from the front lines. What we put on our individual and collective to-do lists matters, not just to each other, but to so many people around this country and planet, people and families we'll never meet. So my ask tonight is that we all channel that park ranger and have the courage and confidence, and maybe even the swagger, as our SSA commissioner recently challenged us in a meeting, to stay focused on the question that really matters at the end of the day: how can we best meet the needs of the people we serve? This is our superpower. We need to own it, and we can keep it going by continuing to send your stories to Martha, our chief storyteller. So if you have your phone, I'd encourage you, before you leave tonight, start at least a draft of an email to info@servicestothecitizen.org so we can continue this movement to make a difference in people's lives. Thank you.